Hey everybody, Gregory Milne here from Living with Media, and I'm joined by the cast and crew of Nightwing Prodigal, new web series coming out. How would you guys like to introduce yourselves?
Just gotta start with you.
Sure. My name is Brady Roberts. I produced the show and I star as Nightwing.
I'm Maddie Phillips. I play Harley Quinn.
My name is Florence Reiher and I play Oracle.
I'm Kyle James Patrick and I play the director.
All right, so where did the whole inspiration for the show come from?
Well, I grew up really loving Nightwing and Robin and just Batman in general, watching the cartoons and playing the games and reading the comics. And I really wanted to showcase Nightwing as a character on his own. I feel like he's an A-list character that doesn't get enough attention, especially in live action. So I felt like it was time to bring him to life, and I know that they don't have any immediate plans to do that in movies or anything, so I think it was time to do that.
Cool. What is it about Nightwing that kind of sticks out for you?
I just really felt like when I was growing up that I could relate to Robin, you know, like, because he was my age and we had the same hair. And
that's where the link is.
we were little acrobats, and yeah. I just love that character. He's badass. Yeah.
And what can you give us story-wise as far as Prodigal itself?
We want me to answer that. Yeah. You only wrote it. It's alright. It's fine.
Co-wrote it.
Well, one of the biggest things Brady's wanted to pick up on, he didn't want us to sort of like cash in to just do an origin story. We had to give the fans enough respect to say, you know the characters, you know where they've come from. Here's just a moment in their life. Here's a moment in this larger storyline, like you get with a 6-comic arc. It's pretty much what we did. We did a 4-episode arc. That would just be a little, whoop, here's a little slice of Nightwing's world. Will we carry it on? What came before? It doesn't really matter. We're just taking that one moment in time, expressing that story, using the characters around to sort of establish the universe. And that's really where it came from. But you're probably asking me for a one-liner as to what the show's about, right?
A couple liners.
Okay. Bruce Wayne, we're missing. Nightwing, in charge of all the toys. Oracle, big brain now. This is me trying to explain it.
Like a monkey explaining the show.
I know. It's got a thing in it, and it's got a load of people. No, what we're doing is we're picking up on the disappearance of Bruce Wayne, and we're trying to solve. We're demonstrating how Nightwing is trying to fill the boots that have been left before him. So it's him growing as a person to be his own man, whilst trying to work out what happened that caused all this to suddenly just disappear. Because it feels like Nightwing got suddenly thrust forward against his own will to sort of, okay, now I'm the savior of Gotham. And he sort of, it's his spunkiness and sort of ego-driven charisma that I find tends to make him a very different character to the Dark Knight. Mm-hmm. So that's why I was down with it. So the story is watching Nightwing try and become his own man.
Okay. Now, of course, Nightwing being in it, we've talked about Harley Quinn and Oracle who are here now. Who else are we going to be seeing character-wise?
I think we've announced Poison Ivy, the Riddler, Catwoman, Bane, and then some other characters that we haven't announced.
So a few surprises coming.
There's some surprises. Yeah, I think there's like some surprises. Like almost every episode.
We sit with most of the cast all the time.
Yeah.
Anyway. Guess who she's gonna be?
So yeah, there's a good probably 4 or 5 other characters that we haven't announced that you'll see show up in the show that are regulars in DC comics.
Okay, and we'll throw it out to the three of you there, because of course, very well-known characters. It's kind of dream parts for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. What's it like getting to step into those boots?
Well, for me, I was never really into all that kind of comic books and stuff. I was more of like, I don't know.
I can feel Brady getting really nervous right now.
No.
Okay, I'm being honest. So, of course, I was freaking out. I was really nervous because I didn't know really anything about it. So it was kind of a bit intimidating for me, especially when Brady was telling me about Harley's huge fan base and how she's so loved and everything. So I made it my mission to fall in love with her too, which is really easy because she's wicked. And so yeah, when I was playing it, it was just I felt so similar to her, and I kind of feel like she's a little bit of my alter ego now.
I'm actually kind of similar to Maddie, that I was never really into comic books. it's not that I never ever read any or anything, but I wasn't like a huge fan growing up. So
These are like extremes.
Yeah, so this is like a whole new experience, which was really, really fun. Awesome as an actor to be able to kind of dive into a whole world that is very well loved and very specific. And Oracle is a wicked, awesome character. She's got this nice... Badassery is not a word, but you know, if it was,
it is on this side.
Yeah, so she's got this really, she's really in tune with technology, and she's really quick. And there was a lot that I could relate to with her because she's got a nice little sass, and her relationship with Nightwing is complicated to say the least. So to be able to play a character in this kind of world has kind of always been a dream of mine in terms of science fiction, because I think it's so cool to be able to play something that's, you know, you got superheroes, things that aren't real, but that people wish they were real, you know, especially in comic book world. I think people who are in this world or who love it or are big fans want it so bad to be real. So to be able to kind of like get it for it to be real for us for whatever moment, you know, on screen, I think is really awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, I just felt like a lot of responsibility, I guess, to not screw it up. I think, you know, the character is so loved, and people have been wanting to see Nightwing on screen for a long time, and I just didn't want to mess it up, so I took it really seriously. Hit the gym really hard, you know, did a lot of research and reading his solo books and stuff, and just making sure that I hit those notes right. And I mean, people never really forgave Ben Affleck for Daredevil, even though I didn't think it was that bad. I'll probably get trolled for that too, but so yeah, I just wanted to make sure I got it right. So
okay,
yeah, I took it seriously.
And
Affleck.
you guys want to tell me quickly about some of the rest of the cast? Because we've got quite a large cast coming into
Yes.
this. So who else?
Who else have we got
there?
Well, I guess all the people we just mentioned.
Yeah.
So we've got Camden.
Camden Phillips.
Camden Phillips is the Riddler. Kylie Bush, Poison Ivy. She's awesome. Like,
We're hesitating
kills that
because
role,
we're trying
kills
to
it.
avoid giving away
I'm just
the
trying to
beginning bit
remember-
where we said we've
yes.
got secret characters. That's
Yeah.
why we're like,
I'm trying to remember.
who have we
Aiden
said?
Pringle. Aiden Pringle as Bane.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
He
Huge,
is Bane.
huge. And we actually had, if you've seen the original trailer, the guy that played Bane in the original trailer, Pete Durrett, is also in this as a different character. Top secret. But so we actually brought in a different guy as Bane, just because Aiden Pringle is like Bane brought to life, like right from the books. Like you couldn't ask for a better guy for Bane, so we brought him in.
Wasn't he going to be here, but he couldn't fit through the
He
door?
couldn't. Yeah, he couldn't fit through the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't get him up the elevator. It was like a burning
Couldn't
up
get him
piano.
to stop
Burning
eating
piano.
raw meat.
Yeah.
He's just downstairs, just shuffling raw meat, and he won't stop.
I think
so he's,
that's it of people we've.
What, Jess Rash?
Oh, Jess Rash.
Yeah.
Yep. As
Harv.
Teresa Tompkins, which is a character we actually created for the show, an original character, and Harv Sira,
Yeah.
who plays a character named Kyle, which is her boyfriend. And I think that's it.
all we can
for
mention,
people
really.
we've announced
That's the
and
thing.
mentioned. Yeah.
Well, the biggest thing for me in our sort of our casting procedure was that there was a lot of people coming in who knew loads about the comics, knew everything about the characters, knew everything there was to possibly know how to act. Like when we were doing the Riddler auditions, we had a lot of people who came in with like a predetermined version of the character. And the biggest thing that I wanted to establish when we were doing it was, yeah, we don't have all the money to create Gotham City. I can't blow up cars, I can't have massive effect shots, so what I need is characters, I need people. So the cast that we assembled was a really good mixture of comic nerds, just artistic nerds, people who are just like, oh, okay, I see the style, I see the sets, I see what you want me to bring. Those people are really important because if they're overwashed with comics, they're already going to have a predetermination in their head. So for our cast point of view, we've got a wicked mixed bag of like Maddie, who's sitting there honestly going, I've never read a comic in my life, to then the extremes. Like these are pretty much the two bookends of extremes when it comes to the experience of the characters. So where I was just really happy was to have these bunch of people sort of jump around going, is this right? Is this how you want us to be? And then me and Brady would be like, yeah, it is, yeah. I was sort
And
of
I
the
think-
exterior nerd to his interior nerd.
Yeah, and during the casting process too, like we made it really clear that we didn't care if anyone had ever read a comic before.
Yeah.
That wasn't important. Like that stuff is important for the writers, you know, and the director obviously needs to know what he's doing. But for the actor, like yeah, doing some character research is great, but we didn't need them to be super nerds. Like that's my job to do that, right? So. You know, as long as they had an understanding of what the character was about, that was what was important. Yeah.
Now, a lot of those casts, yourself included, come out of the pro wrestling world.
Yeah, there were some. Yeah.
Was it important for you to kind of tap that?
Well, there was a few characters that had a very physical presence. Like example for Bane and for Pete's character, these were characters that were very large guys, and they also had to be able to do fight scenes. So those were really specific. We didn't audition for those two characters. They were selected just through their experience, because you're not going to find, you know, you're not going to hold an audition for Bane and have a bunch of guys that look like Bane that are that big and can also do fight sequences as well. So those were very specific. So that's why I pulled those out of my list of 10,000 wrestlers in my phone. So yeah, I just
That's
called
quite
them
the
up.
little black book he's got.
Yeah, so that's always good to have those guys on because we had, you know, minor characters of thugs and stuff like that, and little fight sequences. So we brought wrestlers in for those too. Yeah,
Excellent.
Yeah.
So as far as creating the artistic look of the film, things like that, because we're not on a huge budget.
Yeah.
So had to deal with costuming, makeup, all of that.
Oh yeah.
How did you approach getting as much production value and as much of the comic aesthetic?
Stinginess, that's how we did it. I've spent 10 years being flat broke trying to make the best possible product known to man, and that's kind of where I've developed a reputation. It's like, if you've got $20, give it to Kyle and I'll make it look like $2,000. So he gave me $2,000, and I'm hoping we've made it look like 25, because I did all the set design, and my biggest thing was to make sure that it was as loyal to the comic books as possible in terms of background artists. Like, I've been following comics. I was mainly Marvel. I'm going to admit that I'm mainly Marvel, so I'm kind of used to more of a violescence to the artwork. And I wanted to bring that into the DC world. So you'll see that with the set design. I wanted people to be able to identify the character, or at least get a hint of the character the first second you see everything. So in terms of getting budget out of that, credit to Bruce Borland, our DP. I've worked with Bruce for a long time now, and we're just able, as a little crazy two-man team, to build sets, to light them, to make them look like something so much more. We wanted to go into this being like a five-man camera team doing the same as Arrow, trying to beat Arrow, trying to beat all these comic shows that are appearing now. So that was what we went in with, and I think when you go in with that drive, as long as you're realistic with what you can achieve, yeah, sure, I'm hanging $10 plastics over the front of a smoke machine with a couple of Kino lights up the back of it. But when you see it in the camera, when you know your gear and you know how to shoot, you're like, oh, that looks amazing! And I'm hoping the fans will appreciate the effort that we've gone to make it look as good to them as it is to us. Because that's the thing. Once this thing was shot, it's all up to them now, what they like with it. We've done our best. Sure, we'd love some more money, wouldn't we? We would love a little bit more money. Just the little tiny things, to have a little explosion here and there, or just a couple of extra people who can paint better than me, or things like that. But that's the joy of film, you know, there's always something else you could have done. But what we did was the very best, highest caliber work we could with the resources we had. So that's, for me, is one of the best things about fan film, is that it's just what you lack in money, you make up for it in love. And there was a lot of love on that project. And even though we're 4 weeks post now?
Yeah.
We've kind of got that post-production vibe, so it's like the edit's done, it's going through VFX, the sound guys got it, so we're kind of just all chilling out, waiting to see it. I've seen it thousands of times, and I'm still here, still backing it, because I just think it's brilliant what Brady was able to put together, and he brought together the right people. So as much as I hate to praise him, he's done a really good job, because if it wasn't for Brady being able to be the heart of this whole production, then yeah, I wouldn't have given a shit unless he gave a shit, and he really cared.
I really cared.
And his caring mixed with my stubbornness and professionalism, and with Bruce, who is just a soldier of lighting department. That's really what happened, and it's just a good job that these guys are so freaking amazing at what they do. See the thumb, they're getting the thumb of brilliance right here.
Thumb of brilliance.
I didn't have to do a lot. Like, normally I run rehearsals for months on end, but they turned up and they knew what they were doing. Perfect Oracle. mad as shit, puts her clothes on backwards Harley, which goes into the costume thing. We have to thank Brian Milne for doing all the costumes for everyone. We basically had specialists. We had Lindsay McMillan doing makeup, which was just awesome for everyone, and Brian gave everybody the costumes. Classic.
So, so we've got 4 episodes for this particular story. Are we looking at more going forward?
How much money you got? How much you got? It's about $500 an episode right now. So whatever you got, donate now.
I think we'll just see what happens with these ones. First.
Do you have an idea for a follow-up?
I'll say that I have some ideas. I have some ideas.
It has been talked about.
I have some ideas for a sequel, and I also have some ideas for some stuff that might happen, that might have happened before that too. So there's definitely ideas, but that's all there is right now. We're just gonna wait to get these out and see what the response is. And I mean, it was like I was just working on the credits, and there's like almost 70 people that worked on the show. You know, a lot of those were very minor things, but still, like 70 people. I mean, it was a real process to put together. So it's a ton of work. So like Kyle was saying, like, I just hope people appreciate the work that went into the show and the attention to detail and all the people that worked on it. So doing more episodes, like, I'd love to, but we'll have to see. That would be a really big commitment. So, I mean, if these really take off, then yeah, it's something to consider for sure. Yeah, but we're just focused on these for now.
For sure. Now, as far as Prodigal, you guys have just announced a premiere date?
Yeah, we have one.
Yeah. So I don't know which actual day we're going to be yet. I haven't got the details of that, but we'll be at FanExpo Vancouver for the world premiere. So they're going to screen all 4 episodes. Yeah. So it's about 45 minutes, I think, in total for all 4. And then we're going to have a little panel with the cast. So if anyone has questions that haven't been asked.
drink is gin.
Yes. Last drinks.
Thank you very much, everybody. Did you have any parting thoughts you want to throw out as we sign off?
Girls. Parting thought.
I just want to say that I couldn't have asked for a better team.
Oh,
seriously,
come on.
I love these guys so much.
Just saying that because I'm right here. Because you're crushed in between me here.
She doesn't say anything like that when you're not here.
Yeah. So watch it because they're lovely people, and it's if you look up passion project in the dictionary, this will come up.
This is it.
Yeah, it's got a lot of heart.
No. I just want them to like it because we work so freaking hard. Like, so hard. People have no idea. Anyone who works in film should be able to watch this show and be like, wow, you did that with nothing? Really?
16-hour days.
16-hour days over 6 days. That, like, I've never wrangled so much cable in my life. I have, but I'm lying to myself. It's standard. It's just, I hope it translates. I hope they can see the value on the screen that we put in. Because we could have just not bothered. We could have just, you know, me and Brady could have done all the makeup ourselves. We could have just booched them with our thumbs. And we could have had the page of the script just out of shot and been like other fan movies I've seen, which are just for the celebration of the character, but we wanted to take the production celebration a bit further.
Yeah, we really wanted it to look like a TV show on a very small budget, which was only possible because we had Kyle and Bruce and Lindsay and Brian and all these incredible people involved that brought it like to that level because they're at that level in their individual expertise. So, yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, guys.
Thanks for having us.
That's fun.
Here's an exclusive look at Nightwing Prodigal.
Here on Living Myth magazine.
What are you up to these days?
Finishing med school, following my mom's footsteps, you know. And you?
I work nights.
Nights?
Yeah, security, foreman at Wayne Tech. It's boring stuff. Lame party, huh?
This is my party.
Smooth.
How do I turn off the explosives? There are innocent people in that building.
Well, you're sure wasting a bunch of time, aren't you? Now, do you stay here to save the boy? Or do you fly on over to City Hall?